Hey guys, this is Ken Ross here, and I'm with the South Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm actually the chair elect for the South Dade Chamber of Commerce, and this is the South Dade Shout Out. I am here with two wonderful people, Nikkolas and Rudy of the Miami Immortals. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thank you for
All
having
right.
us.
Even better now to be sitting here with you,
All
brother.
right. Well, I'm excited to get started here. Why don't you start us off, Nicholas? Tell us a little bit of your background, how you got involved in the Miami Immortals.
Absolutely. I started coaching football in 2009. Been coaching high school football since then. I'm currently coaching at Somerset Academy Silver Palms,
Okay.
and I'm also an educator. I would teach fifth grade elementary math at Somerset Soho.
Nice.
Education and football went hand in hand when it came to creating this program.
Awesome. Well, I have a background. I actually graduated from the University of Nebraska in Omaha, and I have a minor in mathematics. So when you said math there, I was like, absolutely. Something I think every child may not enjoy necessarily, but
That's
needs to
true.
understand the concepts of math and get
Absolutely.
It's
get
the
into it.
fundamentals of life.
Absolutely. So Rudy, why don't you tell me a little your background?
I started coaching. Well, my name is Rudy Trevino. I'm the owner and founder of the Miami Immortals. I started the program about 8 years ago through a lot of the kids in the community down there in Homestead in Florida City. And I was working in the school system at the time as a security guard, a part-time security guard, middle school wrestling coach. So current day, I'm actually a teacher in the autistic department at Homestead Senior High. So I've had my own little trials and tribulations to get where I'm going, and I understand what it takes educational wise for the kids. So when we started this program years ago, we geared it to where we use what the kids like to do to keep them in school,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
been
and tell me a
successful.
little bit more about that. It sounds like you have a soft spot, obviously, for the kids, right? And how that relates to you. Does that relate to you in some way, or?
100%. Being raised in the community down there in Homestead, Florida City, we just City in the Ranger area. Um, we really don't, a lot of our households don't focus on education, right? We all look forward towards the weekends and Friday nights because of sports.
Yeah.
So, I never would have thought football would have took me this far. Everybody automatically dreams of the pros, right?
Yeah.
But no one dreams of the football coach. Football,
Yeah.
being a good football coach is gonna make you a teacher in the building, or
Yeah.
getting you actual career profession. So once I saw what football was doing for me, the guy that was my head coach at the time in high school, I probably gave him, I probably made him spend all his money not not at home because the headaches I gave him as a kid.
Yeah.
But he's the first guy to give me my employee number as an adult, right, to set me up for life. So when he did me that favor, I didn't know what kind of favor it was, but it's probably the biggest favor I ever had done for me from another adult that's not in the family of mine. But so then when I started coaching, I started realizing, man, I'm just talking to little versions of me. I started coaching at 22, 21, so
Yeah.
fresh home from college, and I'm coaching these kids, and it's like, God, man, they think just like me.
Yeah.
And now to actually see some of my guys that I started coaching years ago getting master's degrees and graduating with their bachelor's, is life turns full circle. It comes full circle.
Yeah. It's that. Oh, wow. I'm just listening to you talk a lot. I actually come from the great state of Nebraska. I don't know if you know about the Cornhuskers. We used to come down here all the time and
Oh
get
my
national
God.
titles. I won't. I won't
I'm not
bore
a
you.
fan,
I
so you're
won't bore
good.
you with that details. But Nebraska really highly regards its college football program, and it is a program that is designed by nature to really invest a lot into the student athletes and give them tools outside of the field, right? So a lot of the coaches that have been around for a long time have the same mindset, have the same inspiration that you have, and I can see it in your face, right? How you feel like they're a lot like me, and what I want to do is inspire them to be something much bigger than just what you see on the field. So that's really cool. So you did give me a chance to give me a little background into your program in general. Like it's a 7-on-7 type of thing. Can you kind of give me an overview or help me understand why this is a little bit different than just your traditional football type of
Um,
type of
well,
program?
I know we mentioned too that it's a 7-on-7 program. We look at it more as a dropout prevention program that uses sports or uses football in our community to keep the kids busy throughout the weekends and keep them going, keep them motivated because it's hard, right? Because in public schools you only got 10 coaches,
Hmm.
right? But you run the biggest mass in the school, which is anywhere between 65 to 95, 115 kids on the football team. So, we're just an extension of that family from the high schools they come from, because what we do is we have kids from all the neighboring schools. It's not like we have the kids from the area, but some kids may go to Somerset, some kids go to Homestead, some kids go to South Dade, some kids go to Coral Reef, some kids go to Palmetto, some kids. So we pull from everywhere. So we try to look at ourselves as extensions of them, but also extensions of their families, right? Because we're with them on the weekends. So if we all know from 7 to 2 o'clock, the kids are in school, right? From 4 to 2, from 2 to about 6, they're in practice. But then in the off season, they're not, right? And that's too much free time. So we have practices, we have tutoring set up, we have SAT prep, ACT prep. We've helped a tremendous amount of kids go to school following the blueprints, sticking to what we know. And it's been on the higher end of the success rate for us in our community.
Yeah, if I could jump in real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
I know, both of us were like with our backgrounds in education and within football, we understand the platform of the sport and how it could provide success for kids. So what we wanted to do is branch off, like you said, what happens after football finishes? They either do the different sports or they have free time. So they came up with this 7-on-7 off-season football kind of brand where kids continue to compete and they get exposure and things like that. So being able to keep these kids, involved in football, competing against high levels of competition, is one of the biggest things. And it also gives them, like I said, more exposure to recruiting and things like that. And since we have education backgrounds, we get to focus on their transcripts, see what they need to help boost their GPAs. Again, we know the importance of NCAA requirements and what type of test scores they need to get and things like that. So what better way to keep them involved, keep them in a football mindset than to play through us?
That is definitely key. I know, and just in my head thinking about it, having the academic requirements to be able to go to that next level is a big challenge for a lot of kids, especially as they grow up. They think that I'm an athlete. I'm naturally talented. That's going to take me somewhere. But having the education is very key to being able to be successful. Right?
Definitely something we preach is understand we hope you make it to the NFL, and if you have that God-given talent, hope you make it that far. But what happens to the kids that don't? There's a way to get scholarships through football to pursue education, to pursue futures. And that's kind of where the target is. Those players with the talent, we hope they get there. But the other kids that are using football as a platform to get the scholarship to help get them out of their homes that can't afford to go to big time schools and things like that. So that's kind of another push that we have going.
Right. Awesome. So Nikkolas, if you could, or Rudy, either one, can you tell me a little bit more about kind of the support that you have? I mean, it sounds like you say there's an academic portion of this, and that would require, certain resources and certain support. Do you have support of the schools that you work with, or can you give me some backgrounds in that?
A lot of the support comes from like the actual child, right?
Okay.
Because then we build a relationship with the parents, and once you join our family, we're part of your family.
Okay.
So when we start developing the academic plans for the children, they start as young as 8th grade, because some 8th graders take high school courses, right? So we put these plans together to put all the kids in situations to graduate early from high school, to be early grads. So they'll graduate they're in their senior year, but that December, so they can enroll college and then compete in spring football as a 17, 18-year-old, right, to get that extra 6 months of work above everybody else, right? And also, they're going to take 12 college credits earlier than, right now, before anything. So we do that, and then some high school coaches, they're okay with sharing information, but a lot of times we have to, I don't want to say teach the parents, but we have to instruct the parents on how to go get the information from the counselors and how to set up those blueprints and set up those plans for their child to be academically successful. So once we install that in the parents, by the time they're sophomores, all the parents know, hey, this is what my kid needs to go to the next level. This is what my kid needs to have. My kid is missing a math here. My kid missing a science here. Or we need to make sure we have our one online course to make sure we're NCAA eligible.
Yeah. Well, that's really fascinating, because it seems like to me what you're trying to do is fill the gap for not just the student athletes, but the parents as well, to make sure that they're on the same page, right?
Yes.
So that they want to see their kid be successful. They want to see them go to the next level or do the things that they're inspired to do, right? And that takes some work on the part of the parent as well. And I don't think people see as much into that as you do. And so I really admire that. I think it's great that it's a more of a family oriented, communal type of support that you guys have going on there. So that's cool. Why don't you tell me a little bit about, because you talked about this too before we started, the trip that you guys are going on. Explain a little bit about that.
We leave this Friday to go compete in Austin, Texas, at one of the biggest 7-on-7 events in the nation. And when we go out of town for these trips, we don't just go out of town for football. We visit neighboring universities.
Okay.
They help the kids. So they do these college tours, and it just don't help the kids with their recruitments, but it's also to show the children there's life bigger than Homestead, Florida City, or than just Dade County in general.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
So I could say South Florida because we have kids from West Palm that compete a part of the program.
Okay.
So when they compete a part of the program, we take them out of town and they go experience these things. You go experience something new. You go. Not everybody's, and no matter where we live at, right? No matter where we live at in Dade County, not everybody's been on UM's campus.
Right.
Not everybody's been on the Miami-Dade campus. Not everybody's been on the FIU campus, right?
Even FIU or Miami-Dade College at some point. Right?
Yeah, right. So what happens is when we take these kids out to Las Vegas and they visit UNLV, or we go to New Orleans and they get to visit LSU and Tulane, and then we go to Orlando and they get to see UCF, or Gainesville, they get to see Florida, and we go to Atlanta to see Georgia Tech and University of Georgia in Athens. We make those commutes and we make them for more than just football, right? You'll be surprised how many times a kid has told me, "Coach, I've never been on a plane before," or, "Coach, this is my first time leaving the county," and I sit down and I say, life comes full circle again, and I say, wow,
Yes.
football take you a lot of places.
It's a genuine appreciation to be able to get students. And, that was one of the biggest things that Rudy came through with creating this idea, like, let's get them out of Miami.
Right.
Let's have them travel around the country, get exposed to different cities, get exposed to these different colleges, because now that light bulb is going off in their head saying, hey, I want to come here, whether it's through football or academics, but this is where I want to be. And there's a lot of success stories of different students that came through the program, that have pursued college, continue to go out there. So it's been an awesome part of what we do. He mentioned they have the upcoming tournament this weekend in Houston, and they just came from New Orleans. And that's one of the biggest things. They're constantly on the road, taking these kids, exposing them to different places through football.
Awesome. So let me take a quick step back then and talk a little bit about how you do compete. Do you compete in just tournaments like this, or do you have other local 7-on-7 matchups, and is there like a league?
So there are leagues, and there are local tournaments too,
Okay.
right? And then my full philosophy is, if we're going to compete locally, I'm going to do it with my younger age groups, 10, 12, 14, 15 possibly. But if we're going to compete with the older guys. We're going to take them, the older two age groups, we really take them on the road. And it's for a bigger purpose.
Yes.
Right? Because these kids play each other their whole lives through Pop Warner. They play each other through Extreme League. Like, they see these kids forever. Even in high school, you'll be surprised how many kids. And I've been playing against them since I was 5 years old, right? So what happens is we take these kids across the nation and they go play against the best players in Texas, the best players in Louisiana, the best players in Mississippi, the best players in Georgia. And out of nowhere, our Dade County talent, our South Florida talent, end up developing those top tier blue chipper athletes, right? Because they've been seen across the nation. They've been put on that platform.
Right.
Now instantly, everyone wants to recruit them. Oh, they meet all the grade requirements. Oh, well, he just scored on the number one player in Mississippi.
Right.
So so what happens is it puts these guys on the stage
Where they can compete and actually get
and
some attention.
showcase their talent.
Absolutely. That's cool. That's really cool. Seems like, Rudy, you've done a lot this for a while, right? And you have a lot of experience, keeping it organized, have a good plan. Can you give me a success story or a story that you have that kind of sticks out in your mind?
I got two.
Okay.
Right, and they and it's with the same student, right? We was leaving to go compete in a tournament about 8 years ago in Orlando around Martin Luther King weekend. And we get to the tournament, you know. We get there the night before. We stop at a restaurant to go eat. And the kid is in the window making face gestures at regular civilians walking by.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I look at the kid and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You know. And I walk in there and I tell him, hey bro, that's not what we do. This is not Miami.
Right.
You know, or in Kissimmee, this is not the same.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, that same kid, I'll tell you, Carrying Day was the highest ranked player on the University of Miami's football roster this year. Is getting a chance to be in the NFL this year coming up. He is from Homestead, Florida City.
Awesome.
The kid's been with me since he was 12 and 13 years old. His name's Tyreek Stevenson.
Okay.
And they actually see him 3 credits away from a degree. To actually be the first college graduate in his family, right? So he's
Paving the way.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and doing a really good job for himself and his family. Represents his family really well. And just to see where he's came from, and for him to tell me, you know, right before we left, like, I've never been out of town. You know, and then now he's been all over the world because of football.
Yeah.
Because of football. And then another little success story is my daughter's birthday was October 4th this year, and we went to the University of Miami's football practice. I got plenty of kids on the roster, and you know, 2 of my ex-athletes run up and say, "Hey, I got something for her. I know today's her birthday." And I'm looking like, man, what are they gonna give her? Like, you know, what possibly can you give a 9-year-old little girl?
Right.
So they give her some football gloves, right? And I'm looking at the gloves like, what she's gonna do with the football gloves?
Right.
And then she's looking at me like, why they gave me gloves, Dad? And I'm like, hey, they gave you some gloves.
Yeah.
And it wasn't at that moment that it realized life turned full circle for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the way home when she put the gloves on and she put her hands together. And I said, wow. I remember giving those kids their first pair of gloves
Yeah.
when they were 12 and when they were 13. And to see the joy they brought my daughter, and they don't even know the joy they brought her, right? But just, I'm looking at her, you know, with the corner of my eye, and I'm driving, and I see her throwing up to you, and I'm like, God, I thought you was a Gators fan, but
She might be.
yeah, she was all in then. You know?
Right. Right.
So.
Just because they were able to do that for you, like that's really beautiful. Nikkolas, do you have any stories too?
I don't have as much as that. Like, you know, my
Right.
biggest thing I've been working, you know, we have the nickname. He is Mr. Immortal. You know, he has created this program to become what it's become.
Yeah.
He speaks modestly, but, you know, if you guys check out our website, our social medias, you know, we're all over the place in the 7-on-7 world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone knows who the Immortals are. And then, you know, I brought it upon myself, I told Rudy, hey, let's let everyone else know about us within the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, starting with the South Dade Chambers. Let's let them know that they have the biggest team in the nation in their backyard.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, this is a nonprofit. This is something that we want to help the kids with academically, you know, getting exposure football-wise, recruiting, anything like that. You know, and we also want support from the local city and things that can help us with that, like football fields to practice on, you know, possible venues to host tutoring sessions and things like that.
Right.
So that's kind of where I come into place, where helping him expand the vision of what we want to become.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
So
And
he deals all hand on hand. I never take credit for things I don't do.
no worries.
You know, so I got Mr. Immortal here
So
myself.
you
so that's why
you get to live through all the stories. You're the hype man. in
That's
some
all I.
sense. I love it. So that's a really good segue to the next question I was going to ask. What are some of the things that, as the chamber, what we try to do and what we try to inspire people to do is to know about their neighbors, right, and to utilize the services that are available, because Homestead is growing. It's a very big, booming type of economy that we're getting here. We're actually getting a Chick-fil-A. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna Florida City. I talked to the mayor of Florida City. It's gonna probably double in size in 18 months. So, what kind of opportunities? What kind of things are you looking for to expand your reach and to help people know that you're here to serve the community?
Well, I think I could say one of the biggest things we need is facility. You know, as far as right now, we're going to different places throughout the city just to rent football fields. So any type of green we could find to host tryouts, practices for the kids would be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're opening the phase of education where we want to host these tutoring sessions instead of via Zoom. or Google Meet, we could actually meet face to face because that's kind of how we're doing everything right now. So being able to find a venue or something like that where we can start having, weekly sessions with kids and getting in local teachers to help out that would want to help tutor the student athletes. And then as well as just, it costs to do these kind of things. So we're also looking for some type of sponsorships, people that would want to put their name on this to help continue to grow the program.
Awesome. So sponsors, areas to do better structured educational things, and as well as facilities. That's a big ask, but I don't think it's too big for what it is that you're able to show us as the value of what it is that we're bringing to the community. And I think that that's very much needed in this area, especially given the types of opportunities that people have. There are a lot of things people can get involved in, good or bad, in this community, but we want to inspire the good things that we definitely can see in that. So with that being said, is there anything else that you think the Chamber can do when it comes to what it is that you're doing here?
I think the Chamber's put us in a situation to where networking and actually getting our name out within the community that we're based out of, known, right?
Okay.
How long have you been living in Homestead?
I've lived in Homestead for 5 years.
Right, you probably never heard of us.
No,
And
you're right.
And
absolutely
that's
right.
the bridge we're trying to connect, right?
Right,
That's,
so exposure.
yeah,
Okay.
and also to get the community involved a little bit. We've talked about doing things like Easter basket giveaways and turkey drives and feeding the homeless, and sometimes that takes more support than just the guys that sit in the room and talk about it.
So would you be open in speaking to the audience, right, of people that we have that watch this and other Chamber members, would you be open to partnering with other
100%.
nonprofits?
100%.
I think there's a lot of opportunities, especially given some of the people that I've interviewed in the past, some of the people I know in the Chamber, that we could be a resource to linking up different businesses together, or different nonprofits such as yourself together, and saying, hey, look, these are two really great programs and these are their focuses to help you in the community and the people in the community, especially given the fact that I don't know much about it. And I know that when my kid grows up to be of an age where he wants to get into activities, he really loves soccer right now. He's like 4 years old, but as he gets older, maybe he wants to do football too. He could be a little Ndamukong Suh. I don't know if you know about Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah,
He was a soccer player originally, and then he got into football. But I digress.
Top
had-
5 pick in the NFL.
he had a good
corners,
career.
I know.
Yeah, he was number two pick.
Okay, correct.
And a Heisman Trophy candidate. So but definitely has that academic background, and that's what you're inspiring. Is that ultimately you don't want just an athlete. You want someone who understands and can navigate life and see the opportunities that are available to them outside of the sport.
Yeah, because as an athlete, you gotta. There's always a time limit, a time frame on athletes, right?
Right.
Football may be done today, soccer may be done today for some, and then for some it may be done in 10 years. But how do you see that athlete? Is that athlete going to say, you know what, football's not done for me, I'm gonna be a coach, and that may be a career, that may be a profession, and the same thing with the soccer player, same thing with the basketball player. And sometimes it's our perspective and perception, and sometimes you got to alter that, and that comes from the adults and the mentors that are around that child.
Absolutely.
Right. So I always tell myself, people ask me all the time, is why do you do what you do for the kids? Because you know what, my daughter's growing up in this community, right? And if I can ensure that one of the children in her classroom is better, then we're okay. It's a better community.
Absolutely. Where do you see this program going in the next 5 years or so? What do you think you want to see?
Really, to be honest with you, I would lie to you if I told you I see where it's going, because I never thought it would be the number one 7-on-7 program in the nation.
Really?
I never thought we'd have 131 kids in college for free in 8 years. If you would have sat down and talked to me when I was 23 and you told me this what it was going to be, I would have told you, yeah, no, it's not. But as of the current day, we got 131 kids enrolled in colleges, full sports scholarships, and then out of those 131 kids, I'll sit down and tell you, probably about 40 of them already got degrees.
Yeah.
So we're doing our part. That number's going to double and triple eventually. So in 5 years, I'll probably tell you there's 210 kids, and 131 of them got degrees already. right,
Awesome.
in our professions. You know, they're all working in their professional careers. So
Awesome. Well, do you have any other like kind of final words or thoughts about this whole experience here? What is it that you want to really tell the audience about what it is you're trying to do here with this program? I really do admire what you're saying. There's a lot that I could say is akin to me as a person who came from not the best socioeconomic spaces, and I had to have opportunities. It wasn't through a football program, but I definitely see a lot of that in my own story versus what you're offering here, and I think it's a great opportunity. So, what else would you have to say?
I think the biggest thing to say is just giving this opportunity for us to speak upon the program and just to let people know that we're here. That's all I could keep talking about is that we've done so much behind closed doors. And, I think back to when we first met in a kitchen living room, hey, we got an idea, and not nobody would ever dream that it'd become this big. And with the drive that, that Rudy has for this program, the way he's been able to build the football operations and, the way I've been able to work behind the scenes and just continue to drive the success of what we're trying to do for these young men to finally be able to get in front of somebody and speak that doesn't have any idea. And you can feel the energy of what it means to us and
Yeah.
what we're trying to build.
Absolutely.
I think 5 years from now, we just want to continue to see consistency and success because people can start businesses and they crumble right away. But we're driven through the passion of education and helping kids, using football. And that's something we just want to continue to do. So for me, the biggest thing is just, hey, we're here. Get to know who the Miami Immortals are, find a way to support what we're doing because at the end of the day, we're just trying to develop young men into the society. We're starting right here in Homestead, Florida. That's where we come from.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Rudy, I'm gonna give you the final word on that.
just to chime in on the football aspect, I know we talked about the athletes, but we don't talk about the support staff that we usually have. So it's bigger than just the kids, right? You know, some kids come out, they're not athletes. They want to be mentor coaches and they want to be mentor tutors, so it's more than just having the athletes off the field, out the streets as well. Sometimes we provide a space. Right now, I got 4 guys that coach high school football that were mentor coaches under us at 16, 17. And they coach at high schools. And, like, for example, they coach, some of them coach at South Dade. Some of them coach at Palmetto already. And they started coaching with us. So it's a little bit more than just the football aspect. We kind of go full circle with it. And then some of our tutors, they're from the area, or they're top 5 percentile in the school. They need the community service hours. Since we are a nonprofit, we do write off the community service hours for them. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to get back into the community where we're from, and it's been long overdue. So whatever we could do to get a part of Homestead, Florida City, a lot more, we're going to do it.
Awesome. Well, I definitely get a sense of your guys' passion when it comes to this program that you have here. I don't know what else to say to the audience other than to say this is your opportunity, right, to invest in something that will definitely make an impact in the community. And I could see that in your faces. I could see it in just having the chance to met you before we started, to know that you're very passionate about this. You want to invest in the lives of children, of kids and youth in this area, to be able to be not only great on the field, but academically and beyond, to be able to inspire other people to not only just, do the right things on the field, get the support that you need for your family or your parents or whatever, but inspiring the next generation, like you mentioned in your story. And that's something I cannot say that I'd ever want to see replaced. I'd want to see that grow, and that is the opportunity that you're giving many business owners and people out in the community. It's the opportunity to give back to a program that has given so much already. So with that, I can't say anything else, but thank you for coming on this show. I'm glad that I was able to actually do this. I wasn't supposed to be the person to do this interview, so I feel like for me, I've been blessed to have been able to do that for you. So I want to continue to support you in whatever ways I can. And I want to give everyone who's watching this the opportunity to really get the chance to have met you. I'm going to definitely try to continue the dialogue and connect you with people that I know from the chamber. So as a member of the board, of the South Dade Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank you for coming, and I'm going to do my part to help you guys grow and be successful. So with that, thank you everyone for watching the South Dade Shout Out. Please stay tuned. We will have more great people inspiring you to continue to grow your business and help you join the community. So thank you.